Hello, my name is Maria de Souza. I am a Feldenkrais and a yoga teacher, and I concentrate my work on posture. If you are suffering from aches and pains, it's very likely that that is a result of those misalignments and imbalances that we will create in the body. And once you address those, then pain starts fading away. Today I'm going to give you a lesson, an exercise to help you to sit more comfortably and release tension, strain from the back. So you're going to need a chair and you might need a blanket as well. So come and sit on your chair. Just sit normally the way you usually sit. Have your feet flat on the floor, and just sense yourself in sitting. Close your eyes and just notice how does it feel for you to sit. Is it are you effortedly do you feel any tension somewhere in the body, in the back, in the neck? Do you feel that you're making some kind of effort to keep upright? Just notice how does it feel in general. Notice your buttocks, the pelvis. Notice your feet on the floor. Breathe in and out, and just take a moment to feel yourself in sitting and how it feels for you, because this is what it feels normally for you. So it's important that you understand that and that you notice that, so that you can make choices and sit in a different way if you need to. So sense yourself, notice how does it feel sitting, notice your pelvis, your feet, your head on the top of the spine, your shoulders. Notice your breath, your breathing. Okay, just keep a mental memory of what you found out. And now I want you to, if you're not yet sitting towards the front of your chair, your feet and the knees are hip distance apart, more or less. You might need a little bit more or a little bit less. Find what's comfortable for you. And I want you to bring your attention to your pelvis. So the most important thing when it comes to sitting are your sitting bones. And as per the name, they are bones for us to sit on. And they are in your pelvis. The way to find and feel, sense your sitting bones is by bringing one hand below your buttocks to have a better sense for your sitting bones, and then the other hand and your buttocks, and then you sit on your hands and roll back and forth, sideways, and feel that bone on your hands. You have one bone in each hand that are your sitting bones, and they are designed for us to sit on. And once you understand about the sitting bones, then you can start sitting a little bit better, with less effort. Take your hands away and now sense your sitting bones without your hands. Can you sense them on your chair? Roll back and forth, sideways. Can you see where your sitting bones are? Are you already sitting a little bit better because you brought your awareness to your sitting bones? Notice where your neutral is. Neutral means where do you sit on your sitting bones? Is it towards the back of the sitting bones? Is it towards the front of the sitting bones? Just notice that. Also notice if you have more weight going down onto one sitting bone than the other. So the purpose of the sitting bones is for us to sit on them, sitting on the bones. And the sitting bones support and hold the weight of the torso and the head. So imagine your sitting bones like baby feet. There on a chair, supporting your torso and your head. Notice how that feels. Notice the weight going down onto your sitting bones. One and the other. Is there more weight on one than the other? It is likely that there is, because we all have these misalignments and imbalances in the body. Just notice that, keep a mental memory. From here, you're going to bring your right hand on your crown, on the top of your head, just resting. You're not pushing, you're not doing anything, just resting that right hand there. And then the left hand comes around on your waist with the fingers pointing your spine. And from here, you're going to start rolling towards the back of your sitting bones and rounding the spine one way. Rounding the spine this way, sitting back on your sitting bones, and then you're going to roll towards the front of your sitting bones, towards your pubic bone, and arch the lower back a little bit. And you're going to carry on doing these two movements, rounding, moving towards the back of the sitting bones, rounding the spine, the chin comes towards the chest, and then you're going to round the other way, you're going to move the other way towards the front of the sitting bones. Do that a few times, and I want you to start paying attention to how you shrink as you roll back onto your sitting bones, and as you grow, as you move forwards towards the forwards onto your sitting bones. So, growing, extending as you move towards the front of the sitting bones, and shrinking, collapsing, and you come towards the back of the sitting bones. And I want you to realize, to notice that this is where a lot of people are. This is how a lot of people sit. And you can, if you come to this position, you can sense for yourself that everything is squashed. I can't breathe very well because I'm squashing my lungs. All the internal organs are being squashed and cannot work efficiently because they are collapsed, because they are out of place, squeezed. So here I can't breathe well, my digestive system cannot do the work well because everything is squeezed. So imagine that people, every time they sit here. So what kind of problems they might have? Breathing problems, heart problems, digestive problems, depression, because you can't be happy here. So I want you to notice, to realize that you have a choice. It's your choice. I can only give you the choices, then it's up to you to take them, explore them. So, rolling back onto your sitting bones and rolling forwards towards the front of the sitting bones. Here you are shrinking and collapsing. Here you are tall. That's a magical trick to look and be taller, is to sit right on top of your sitting bones. So here I'm small, here I'm long and tall. So carry on with these two movements and notice the options you have to sit. You can either sit here or you can either sit here. Okay, and you run back and forth. I also want you to feel those muscles around your lower back and see how they feel. Are they moving well? Are they sticky? Do you feel any tension? Just notice. And if your fingers reach your vertebrae, your spine, Just feel the movement of the spine. Can you feel the spine moving? Moving in and moving out. Your hand in your head is just for you to feel that you are growing as you move towards the front of the sitting bones, and you're shrinking as you move back towards the sitting bones. Okay? And go back and forth. Breathing in and out. Notice how do you breathe when you are here, sitting at the back of your sitting bones. Not easy to breathe. And notice how you breathe much freer when you are here, sitting right on the top of your sitting bones. So all these movements are very useful for the spine, the rounding this way and the extending. But what you don't want to do is to stay here. So we're not designed to stay here. That's why we have pains, because we stay in positions that the body doesn't like, the body is not designed to be in. And when we are here, things feel much better. Okay, and then you let that go and rest your hands, and then we're going to do the other side. Okay? Left hand on your head, right hand around your waist, and the same thing, going to roll back and forth. Notice that this side might feel different. Maybe it's easier to, maybe you feel that the muscles feel different. Maybe they are working better or working not so well. Just notice the muscles around your lower back. Notice how does it feel on this side. Maybe you feel something different, and it's very likely that you may feel something different on this side. Maybe it's easier to move, maybe it's not so easy to move. And again, notice yourself growing as you move towards the front of the sitting bones and shrinking as you move towards the back of the sitting bones. See if you can feel your vertebrae, the lower back and the spine moving as you rock back and forth. Growing and shrinking. Okay, and again, you spend a good minute in each side, just moving this way and feeling the movement. Make sure you're not pushing your hand, the hand is just resting there. I was actually pushing, so we need to pay attention to what the body is doing. Because if you don't, then we're just creating unnecessary tension, unnecessary difficulty for ourselves. Like I was kind of pushing my hand without noticing, but once I noticed, things became easier. Okay. Notice those muscles here. Are they happy to move, or are they not happy? Are they sticky? All right. And then you release and take a rest on your sitting bones. Back on your sitting bones. And just notice yourself. Are you sitting differently already? How are your sitting bones? More balanced? How do you feel in your torso, the head? Just notice. We're going to do something else. We're going to come out with one sit bone. So I'm bringing out of the chair my right sitting bone. Find the distance for your legs, a comfortable distance for you to balance yourself. It's an awkward position, so you need to find some balance here. And just stay here for as long as it is comfortable. As I said, it's quite a awkward position, and it's going to be a awkward movement. Bring your left hand on your crown and your right hand around your waist, just like before. And this time you're going to descend, move towards the floor, the right sitting bone. And notice that as I do that, I'm lengthening this side. Notice those muscles around there, your lower back. And then you're going to move the sitting bone towards your ear. And to do that, I need to shrink on that side. Okay, and you carry on with this movement, moving the sit bone towards the floor and up. Notice that you're not making your head to move. The head moves because of the movement in the pelvis, as a result of the movement of the pelvis. So allow the head to go with the pelvis without, the movement starts in the pelvis. Your effort is to move the pelvis, is to move the sitting bone towards the floor and up. Nothing else. Everything else that moves is a result of the movement of the pelvis, okay? Breathing in and out. Make sure you're not pushing your hand. And again, you just stay here for as long as it is comfortable. It's kind of an awkward position. And you can feel yourself again growing and shrinking. Okay, and if you can spend a good minute there, if it's too much, then do what suits you best. Come back to your sitting bones, feel yourself, feel your pelvis, the feet. Can you feel a difference between the right and the left foot? Can you feel a difference in your sitting bones, the left and the right? So all this side that I've worked just now feels more grounded, alive, solid. That one feels a little bit more sleepy. Okay, let's do the other side. Same thing, left hip bone, sitting bone out of the chair. Find a comfortable distance for your feet and the legs. Right leg resting on your crown, left leg, left hand in the waist. And again, you're going to descend the left sitting bone towards the floor and lifting the sitting bone towards your ear. And the same thing as on the other side. And notice yourself here. Notice if it feels different on this side. It's very likely that you may feel different. Maybe it's easier to move. Maybe it's not so easier to move on this side. Just notice the muscles around your lower back here. Notice how you're lengthening as you descend the sitting bone towards the floor, and as you shrink as you bring the sitting bone towards your ear. And you can spend a good minute here. Breathing in and out. Noticing and sensing yourself as you move. You may want to stay a second or so in each side, like I'm doing it now, just to sensing, just because my body asking me to stay there for a second, so it's not something that I can explain, but it feels good to stay here for a moment, and then I go here. I might want to stay here for a moment as well, if my body is asking me to do so. Just follow your instinct. Okay, and then let go and rest. Come back onto your chair, back to your sitting bones, both of them, and just notice how you're sitting now. Are you sitting differently? Notice the weight of the sitting bones on the chair, the weight that the sitting bones are receiving. Is there more balance? Is more on one side than the other? Notice your feet Do they feel grounded? Make sure you're doing this without shoes. If you have socks on, make sure they are large enough for the feet to be free to spread and the toes to spread. Okay, we're going to do one more thing here, or two more things here. You're going to sit like this on your chair, and you're going to rest your forehead on your arms. And from here you're going to do, so find a comfortable sitting position here. It's quite a relaxing position. And from here you're going to rock the pelvis just like you did at the very beginning, back and forth. So you roll towards the back, you round the back, and you roll towards the back of the sitting bones, and then towards the front of the sitting bones, just like you did at the very beginning. And you're going to rock back and forth, same way. The movement is a little bit more restricted here because of the position. Do what you can. Arching the lower back and rounding. Back and forth on your sitting bones. Breathing in and out. Spend a good minute here. Moving back and forth. Allow the belly to hang out when you move forward onto your sitting bones, and move in as you move back. You may want to inhale, inflate as you inhale, as you move towards the front of the sitting bones, and exhale, inflating as you move towards the back of the sitting bones. And you're going to move forward, back and forth. Your head stays on your arms. And again, you spend a good minute here. Back and forth. Notice if for you it's easier to move back or is it easier to move forwards. The slower you go, the more you can feel and sense. And again, you can, just like we did before, you can stay a second or two in each side, in each part that you move. Actually feels quite good to stay just for a second or two in each side. And make sure you breathe in or hold in the breath. Okay, and then you're going to let go and rest. And then you're going to do the same, but with the hands resting on the thigh. And that's why you probably need a blanket here. You need to move yourself a little bit forward so they can rest the chest on the chair and the hands rest on the thighs or on the knees. And here you're going to I'm just concerned about my microphone, so I'm going to bring it up here and see how it goes. So I'm not going to rest so much so that you can still hear me. Okay, here you rest your chest and the chin, wherever, how high, it depends of your chair. Rest your chest on a chair, on the back of the chair, and you're going to move the pelvis in the same way. And it's a bit awkward, it's not so easy to do this in this position. Do what you can. The movement doesn't need to be big, and you're doing the same movement, rocking back and forth with the pelvis, towards the front of the sitting bones and towards the back. Same thing. Breathe in and out, and make sure you are relaxed, and that your arms are relaxed, the hands, everything. And you're going to just move back and forwards in this position, resting the chest on a chair. And again, you spend a good minute here. Back and forth. Okay, and then Then you can have a little rest here. Bring yourself back a little more and just have a little rest here. Breathing in and out. And then you're gonna go, this is the end of this exercise. You're going to sit back on your chair, just like at the very beginning, and just notice how things are now comparing to the beginning of the lesson. How does it feel to sit now? Bring your attention to your sitting bones. Notice where the weight is in your sitting bones. Excuse me, actually we're gonna do something different. Excuse me. So you're going to kind of do a pendulum movement. So rock back onto the back of the sitting bones and then forwards, and do a large movement, as large as you can make it. And then what you want to do is to make it smaller, 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 like a pendulum, until you come to a hold, stillness. Okay, so rock, and then large movements, and then slower, 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 until close your eyes, make it a little bit meditative, and come to a hold. Whatever time that it takes you, it doesn't really matter how long it takes you, just allow the body to pendulum and to come to a hold. Don't worry about how long it takes, just take your time, okay? Maybe you need more time than I'm going to give you here, but that's okay. Then when you get to stillness, then that will be your neutral position as you sit. That will be your neutral. So you're sitting right on top of the sitting bones, and notice how does it feel. Notice your neutral now comparing to the very beginning of the lesson, when we went through that exploration. Now going through the same explorations. Where's your neutral? Where does it? How does it feel now to sit like this? Are you sitting in a different place in your sitting bones now that you know all about the sitting bones? It's the weight more, a little bit more. If the weight wasn't nicely distributed between each sitting bone, it's a bit better now. Do you feel that the weight is more distributed? There's same weight in each sitting bone. Notice your feet on the floor. Does the feet feel different with the contact on the floor, the soles of the feet? Notice your head, your shoulders, and just notice in general how do you feel sitting compared to the very beginning. Okay, so this is the end of the lesson. Notice that you have the choices to sit better. And you can only realize those choices when you pay attention to what you're doing with your body. So self-awareness. Without it, it's very difficult to have control over our bodies, our lives. So it's important that we know what we are doing, because if we know what we are doing, we can do whatever we want. If we're not paying attention to ourselves, self-awareness, then we are totally in powerless mode, because we don't know what we're doing. That's it for this week. Next week I'm going to bring you a similar lesson to help you to sit better. So thank you so much for watching. If you like it, give me the thumbs up, distribute it around your friends and family, and leave me your comments, suggestions, requests. Thanks so much, and I'll see you at a next video. Bye bye now.